Hello everyone, welcome back. This is Denise, and today I'm going to tell you about a new class I just put out. It is available on my website and on Skillshare, and it's called Bare Spine Beauty, Master the Art of Coptic Bookbinding. And this class is super fun because it gives you a really easy way to make a beautiful handmade journal, and I've made a whole bunch of them. And what I especially like about these is the open spine, and then you can do some fun colored stitching, and every single one of them turns out gorgeous. And these are made with one pad of paper. So if you had, for instance, one pad of the Handmade paper, you could make yourself which is what I've done on several of these. Just one pad of paper makes this whole book. How cool is that? Now, I don't think you're going to get a better deal than that, because the Handmade paper, I usually get it on sale on Amazon for like $17 and some change, and I'll pick up a couple of pads when I see it pop up on sale, and then you use the very back part of that as your book cover, and then some type of handmade paper, or you can paint that book cover, or you can cover it with a piece of your art, and then some cheap book supplies like the waxed thread and a needle, and you're all set. And so for, say, not very much money, you've got a book with your very favorite watercolor paper or mixed media paper or whatever paper that you love, ready to go. And so these you might have seen in my studio tour. I've been hoarding them for a little while. A few of them, of these ones that I actually made in class, I gave away at Christmas because I thought, oh, perfect gift. Perfect gift. And then one of these I made with vintage papers and some varieties in here, so you can see that you can also create yourself some lovely books with other pages in them. So it doesn't have to be just the art paper. You can fill it up with all kinds of amazing other papers, vintage, handmade, just a variety. You could put your art already in here that you've done, with a fun paper and a fun stitch, and we've got a really cool book that way. So we make several books in class. We make a watercolor page one, and I'll show you how I made this one. I like the ones that have just the watercolor paper in them because that's the paper I like to paint on the most, and then I get excited about coming to fill up and do a project in the book, and it's an actual painting rather than, you know, something that I wouldn't want to keep. I love it because then the whole book is a piece of art, and the art in it is a piece of art. I love the handmade journal so much, and I've been hoarding these since I made that class because I didn't put the class out immediately, and I cannot now wait to start painting in these. I also made a bigger one, and funny enough, this one is a larger pad of paper. The one that's bigger than the 9x12, it's the larger, like 10x14 size. And this happens to be about the same size as the Dina Wakley Ledger journals. How cool is that? And you can, of course, put lots of different papers in it. You can put just the watercolor papers that you want to use, and then you'll have the different signatures in here, and again finished with a super fun thread. And then I made a few more for myself because I was so obsessed with making these. I truly love them, that I made two bigger ones, and these are gorgeous. And I used my buttons from Joann Fabrics, which I know now they're going out of business, which kind of sucks. So if you've got a Joann near you, go and see if they've got any of these big buttons, because now they're going to be hard to come by. I don't know anybody else that sells those, and you may just visit like some fabric stores and see and look online, but man, these are my very favorite. So I did go visit them a couple months ago and had bought some extras just because I wanted them, and then when they were going out of business, I went back and looked again just in case, and I got a couple more, and I'll be very sad when those are sold out because this is my favorite closure on these big journals. And this was made with some fabric, and this one was made with some fabric and the same Coptic binding, so you can vary the number of stitch holes that you have there. This is done with 3 and a blank and 3, and then this one was done all the way down because it was a little bit bigger book. And then this was made with some watercolor paper that I got from Jackson's Art. It was the handmade paper, the Two Rivers paper that they carry, and I just had tore it in half, so it's got all these lovely deckled edge pages, and it's gonna be like the best book to paint in. So I actually made 2 of these. I loved them so much, and then they're gorgeous. They have the pretty deckled edges, and then the second one here with a pretty fabric on the front and a different fabric on the back. I just love the variations that you can do on these books that you make yourself with some handmade paper. And again, it was a few more sheets of that Jackson's paper that I did. And these just have 3 sheets per signature. So I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 signatures. So it's like 15 sheets. So it was like 7 or 8 pieces that I cut in half. And then I may have put one of those pieces here in this one. This one's 4 signatures and this one was 5. So I just made myself some fun variations, and then just a little wrap around here with some ribbon. How gorgeous are those? And I did the spine a little differently on this one. I've got some close sewn here and then along, and then some shorts and then along, so you can get really creative on the spine of these. I can't wait to be using these now. So I thought we would crack open one of these books and paint in it today, just to get it started. So let me get some supplies out. I've got my Masha's watercolors out today. I've just got that 36-piece sampler set, and I kind of feel like painting something on this page using these colors, maybe in a radiating kind of wonky circle, sunset, kind of, I don't know, something fun. And I feel like just kind of playing and experimenting in some of these colors in the warm color range. And so I think I'm just going to get started, and I'm going to do the whole page instead of taping it off. I did try taping off, and I sat there and looked at it for a moment, and I thought, I think what I want to do is go edge to edge instead of having the tape in there. And so I took the tape back off, and just so you know, tape comes off wonderfully. But I'm kind of feeling like maybe I just want to play on the paper and see like what does the paper do, and how does it work compared to some of my other watercolor papers. And it is rougher, like kind of rough, like it's really treating the paper way different than the Handmade paper. So I'd almost say that even though this is a cold press paper, it is like a rough cold press paper. It is not quite doing the same as my regular paper. So I'm glad I put this paper in a book to experiment with and play with and be like, oh, this is way different than the watercolor paper I'm actually used to. So that's kind of interesting. So I'm kind of thinking in the red, orange, maybe some of these kind of purple ones down here. And then when we're done, maybe we'll come back in and do some mark making perhaps. And I was kind of interested too in seeing like how do these blend into each other. Maybe if I add some more water in here, we'll get some more movement with these colors. I kind of want them to mesh and blend and merge a little bit. It's not mesh and blend and merging as much as I would have kind of thought there. Now I'm just kind of playing and seeing like what would this paper do if I move stuff around. It's almost, when you do a little bit of that, we get some brush marks that kind of sit on the paper there, almost like fingerprints a little bit. That's kind of interesting for texture. It does some funky stuff as I'm moving the brush around on it. This is not paper I'm used to, so I like putting papers like this into books like this to play and experiment with, and then it'd be a good a good way to get as much use out of the paper as you could, because you're making a book out of it. And then a good way to decide, you know, would you want to do more on this paper? It's kind of interesting here. Let's just go back to this yummy color here. And I'm just using my Princeton Neptune 1/2" oval wash brush because I like that it'll give me some wonkiness as I'm going. It's not like a true round brush would do. It gives you some fun options. Okay, this is not looking like I, in my mind, intended. So that's very interesting. So I think what I'm going to do, and I can see some interesting repelling that I didn't really expect there. That's kind of interesting too. So I might go in with a little more, maybe some surprise color in here. And then we'll come back and do maybe a little stencil work or something on top and just see how we can finish this off now that we made a very interesting kind of quarter concentric circle. So let me let this dry and I'll be back. Okay, I was just flipping through my stencils and looking, and I have noticed something with this paper that not all the color soaked in, and I actually took a tissue and dabbed it and it removed a lot of color. So I thought, what if we did something like this? This is a Seth Apter stencil from Stencil Girl, and I'm looking to see, I think that's who it is. I'm looking to see if I can see where they put the name. I think it might have been right there. Stencil Girl, definitely. Where was the name? I mean, it had to be Stencil Club. I can't. So you can look on the Stencil Club page for those. Yeah, Stencil Club, something, something, something. I already painted on top of it. It's definitely Stencil Club. It's Apter, A-P-T-E-R. And I can't see the month, but you'd have to look on the Stencil Club page and then scroll down. That's where those stencils are. They don't just show up anywhere else on the website. But I'm kind of thinking, what if we just removed color and did kind of a reverse stenciling kind of techniques? I've got some baby wipes here, and I just want to see, like, maybe if we rub color off, what this might look like. And it might look like nothing, but I kind of feel like because of the way that paint came off on that one piece, I think the paint's going to come back off this paper. And I will say, now that I've used this paper, I think for me, I want it to be more of a mixed media paper where I'm doing stuff on top of it like this. I wouldn't necessarily want it to be a straight watercolor paper after working on papers like the Handmade and stuff, because I don't know, I'm spoiled with that other paper doing so good, and this one not really reacting in a way that I would have thought. And these are baby wipes, and so they may have some chemical on it that could react with my paper. You could just do this with a towel and some water. It's all about experimenting for me. We'll see what it does through the years. But so you can do water, paper towel, dip it in your little thing of water, and come back and just start pulling color off. And just see, like, can we see what it says when it's done? It's going to be an interesting experiment. And you might could do this with a paintbrush and just scrub stuff off. I don't know. It's all about play. Just if you think, what would happen if I did whatever it is, and then do whatever it is you just thought. That is my favorite way to play at my art table. It really is for me now all about the process and what would this do if I did this, for instance. What would it look like? And would I do it again? And it's kind of just fun to work through different experiments in your mind and play. And when I was younger, it was not all about the process. It was all about the destination. And if I didn't get where I thought I needed to be, I was very upset about it. And so letting go of those expectations has made me really enjoy coming into my art room and playing and having fun with you guys in a way that I just couldn't do before. You gotta let go of the expectations more than anything. Okay, what do you think we got? Oop, let me get these circles. I like these circles. It's gonna be interesting. I am excited now that I actually get to use all these books that I made. They've been piled over there. I showed them in my studio tour, and I was like, oh, it's coming, it's coming. But, I can only put out so many classes at a time before, you're class overwhelmed, and I probably put out so many that you're already class overwhelmed anyway. But it's like, I can make them faster than I could realistically put them out and people enjoy them. So, we space them out. So I've been waiting to use these for all this time. Okay, do we think we got enough off? Drum roll. Let's take a look. Look at that. That turned out pretty cool, actually. And you can mostly read it. In dreams, our truths are revealed. How cool is that? Okay, so for today, I think I'm going to let this be this page. I'm actually really happy with what that looks like. I just kind of covered the other page to keep it clean and covered the pages underneath so I didn't paint underneath. I did notice that this paper was thick enough, and this is the Two Rivers handmade paper that they sell at Jackson's Art, but it doesn't soak through to the back, so we can very easily come back and paint on the next page whenever we feel like doing that. We could keep mark making, we could draw around the different words, we could add some dots, we could add some lines. You could definitely keep working a piece like this depending on what it is that you painted, but for today I think I'm gonna let this be what it is. Hope you had fun painting with me today, checking out the new books that I've made for the new class. Let me just pull these back out and show you the Bare Spine Beauty class. Now I have all of these lovely books that I will randomly be pulling out and using. Hope you enjoy checking those out, and I'll see you guys next time.